Welcome to Phoenix Rising, Mind and Body Healing. I'm Megan Bramlett, and for over 20 years I've used my hands and my heart to help others heal, reset, and rise. This podcast is your invitation to reconnect with your body, empower your mind, and embrace the sacred journey of transformation. I am so glad you're here. Welcome back to Phoenix Rising Podcast. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's been a little while since we did a podcast, so I'm starting it over, starting it new. Same idea. Today's episode is Shame in the Body, the Hidden Weight We Carry. So again, thank you and welcome back to Phoenix Rising Podcast. This podcast is brought to you to help you understand the mind-body connection, to help you rise above the mindset, rise above the body, the aches and pains and all the problems within your body, to give you something to look forward to give you something different to look at, to change the mindset, to help you, give you little tips and tricks to help you throughout your journey of really of rising above what is in your life right now. And to each of us, it's going to be something different. To each of us, it might be body pains. Some of us, it might be our mindset pains. This is kind of like a little bit of everything because it all interconnects. When your mind is very stressed out and your mind is very down and negative and stuff, your body will follow. And if your body is very negative and very down and in pain and all those things, your mind will follow. So in reality, we can't handle one without the other. And so I give you a little bit of both, because being a massage therapist for over 20 years and being a mindset coach, both have such a drastic effect on each other. And, you know, I did a live today actually about a client of mine who is, I'm working on him, and he's very much about, I feel better, but I said to him, well, Monday morning, we're going to wake up and we're going to say, today, I'm not going to be in pain. He said, yes, but I'll say that, but. And so that but has a huge effect. We don't even realize how much that but has an effect on us, because in our brain, in our mind, we've now told ourselves, but it's not really going to happen. I'll still be in pain. Right? I told my aunt recently, she was saying that every morning she wakes up, she's so scared to death she's going to fall. The doctor told her that that's just commonplace now and that she has to live with it. She has no balance. And I said, well, you know, the doctor sucks, because that's not very fair to say to you. I said, because your mind automatically goes to, that's exactly what's going to happen. I said, so that sucks. I said, but on top of that, let's look at that, what you say to yourself every morning. God, I hope today I'm not going to fall. I hope today is going to, I hope. I'm so afraid of falling. How about we say, today is the first day I'm not going to fall? It's a slight difference in the way we say it in our brain, but that little difference in the way we say it can make a huge difference in how we behave that day and what we think that day, and our outcome has a higher chance of being better. If you wake up your morning and saying to yourself, God, I hope I don't fall. I'm so afraid of falling. I just know I'm going to fall. I just don't know what to do. Guess what? You will fall. If you wake up in the morning and you say to yourself, today is the first day I'm not going to fall, and I'm going to continue this, and there's a higher chance you're not going to fall than you are going to fall. So keep that in mind. So today's episode is all about shame in the body, the hidden weight we carry. Today I want to talk to you about something many of us carry quietly, sometimes for years, and that is shame. Not just the idea of shame or the stories we tell ourselves about it, but the way shame actually lives in our bodies. Have you ever felt a heaviness in your chest or a knot in your stomach when you remember something painful from your past? I do. I'll remember something painful from my past, and this isn't even that long ago. We'll go with the most recent, well, one of the most recent ones that I really So 2 years, 3 years ago now, I was run over by a car. And my husband, I love my husband to death, but once I was out of the hospital and once I was, not in, I mean, I was still in a lot of pain, but he said to me, he goes, Megan, he's like, part of it was your fault because you should have been paying attention. And, I get where he's coming from. I do. But how much shame did that put on me? How much shame, how much heaviness, how much, every time I think about that, how much do I blame myself for that? That heaviness isn't just an emotional, it just isn't just emotional, it's physical. It's your body holding on to the shame. So whenever I think about that and I get all like upset and worried and frustrated, a lot of that is because I feel that shame of, like kind of put it there. Like I don't want to blame him because and I've allowed it, but and I know better, but it's still he kind of put it there. So every time I think about that, now I have this shame of what did I do? So where does shame live in our body? Shame has a way of showing up in very specific places. This is actually really interesting, guys. This is like shame shows up in very specific places. It's in the stomach, that sick, sinking feeling, butterflies that don't feel exciting, but instead unsettling. Like, those butterflies that you're like, ooh, I'm so excited. And then you have the butterflies that are like, I'm not going to like this. This isn't so good. That's the difference. So the shame butterflies are going to be the ones that are unsettling, the ones that are that make you feel kind of like something's bad. That sinking feeling. You ever think of something, you get that sinking feeling like, oh shit, I'm going back into that life. I'm going back into that thought process. I'm going back into that. For others, it presses down on our chest big time. Many, 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 I don't even want to think about how many years ago, I was hanging out with a friend of mine and he decided that, he thought we were more than friends and got into an argument and he ended up strangling me, like literally putting his hands on my neck. And I got my foot up and I kicked him really hard. But for the longest time, whenever I thought about that, I literally couldn't breathe. Like I had to like calm myself down and breathe. And I felt like this weight was on my chest. And a lot of that was shame because I knew better. I should never have allowed that. But a lot of it was shame for what I've allowed or something that I've done. And so that it came down like it was a weight on my chest and it was horrible. And then I kind of figured out what it was and what was causing it. And I slowly dealt with that. Shame often creeps into the shoulders and the neck. So some of those pains that you're feeling in your shoulders and neck aren't actually because of your shoulders and your neck are tight. It's because of shame, making us want to shrink or hide to make ourselves smaller. We're ashamed. A lot of women who have gone through domestic violence or are going through domestic violence have that look like, I'm afraid. I don't, I'm ashamed of where I'm at in life. And that's not a great place to be. Over time, these physical responses don't just come and go. They can shape how we move, how we carry ourselves, and even how we experience pain. So, how shame shapes over time. When shame goes unspoken, the body often takes the burden. We tighten, we clench, we hold ourselves in protective patterns. The mind might try to push the shame down, but the body never forgets. That's really important, guys, because our body will never forget. We actually have to overcome and we have to rise above what our body remembers. Our body will always remember things. So I've worked with people whose shoulders were more like armor, locked tight for so many years. Years of hiding. I've seen people hold tension in their stomachs, battling digestive issues that had as much to do with unprocessed emotions as it did with food. So when we have digestive issues, a lot of times we think it's the food we're eating. Maybe it's too much fatty foods. Maybe it's too much milk. Maybe I'm allergic to milk. Maybe I'm allergic to gluten. Maybe I'm allergic to this. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's we've held on to emotions for so long in our body and we're not letting them go because we keep pushing them down from our mind, and our stomach is going, I can't anymore. I'm done. I can't. I need a vacation from this. This is not a weakness, guys. This is the body doing what it knows best. It's protecting you. The first step towards release is simple awareness. So when it came to, and I'm still working on some of the stuff from the accident, but when it comes to understanding the shame and all of the emotions from my accident, the first thing I had to do was be aware of it. Initially, I went into like a spiral, an emotional spiral. And in order to get out of that spiral, I had to recognize I was in a spiral. I had to become aware of the fact that I was in a spiral. And then I had to reach out for help. So when it comes to our body, the pains we're feeling, especially if it's stomach and shoulders and neck, we have to become aware of what's causing it. So this is like a root cause issue. So our root cause of our neck pain, our root cause of our body pain is not necessarily going to be problems with our neck and our back and our stomach. It has to do with our emotion. So right now, I invite you to pause. Think of a moment when you felt ashamed. Maybe something from a long time ago. Maybe something from recent. Don't linger in the story. Just notice, where do you feel it in your body? Where do you feel it? Do you feel it in your stomach? Do you feel it in your neck? Feel it in your shoulders? Here's the truth. Shame heals in connection. It doesn't survive when it's met with compassion and safe presence. That can happen through safe touch, body work like massage therapy, therapeutic touch, and or even as simple as placing your own hand over the heart, over your heart. The body responds to safety. It's softened when it feels supported. So I had a student once. He was an amazing student, but he had been through a lot in his life, and he really had a hard time with people working on his wrists and his ankles. And I'll never forget this. This is one of my first students. And I asked him to stay after, and I spoke with him about it. And it turns out that it was an abuse situation from when he was younger, and he just couldn't let go of it. So I said, I'd love to help you in this journey. I'd love to help you in the journey of releasing this and letting go of that from your past. And he said, I would love to. It scares me. I said, okay. So little by little each day, we talked about it. And little by little each day, I'd go over when he was getting a massage, and I would put my hand on his ankle and just lay it there, soft and safe. No touch, no like grabbing, no like going crazy with it. On his ankle. First, I started with his toes, and then I slowly worked down to his ankle. And by the end of that 9 months that he was in class with me, he had no problem. He had let it go. And I started with awareness and safe touch. And by me doing the touch with him, the safe touch on his feet, his ankles, his fingers, his hands, his wrists, that helped him deal with the emotional aspect of it as it came up as I touched him, because he knew he was safe. When we bring gentle awareness and when we meet shame with kindness instead of judgment, we invite the body to let go and what it's been carrying for so long. So I invited that student to let go of all of his memories of abuse, of neglect, through safe touch and awareness without any judgment. But I could do it, but he had to do it too. So let's do a little mini practice. Find a comfortable position. If you can, close your eyes. Bring one hand to your chest and one hand to your belly. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and gently let it out through your mouth. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. As you breathe, imagine warmth spreading underneath your hands. Imagine your body softening into that warmth. And if it feels safe, whisper quietly to yourself or say it silently in your mind, I am safe to feel. I don't have to hide. Notice if anything shifts, even just a little. Maybe your shoulders drop. Maybe your breath feels easier. That small shift matters. That's a start. It matters. So, in closing, shame can feel like a hidden weight we carry, heavy, isolating, suffocating, even at times. But it doesn't have to stay with us forever. By noticing where it lives in our bodies, by meeting it with compassion, and by allowing safe touch and awareness, we begin to release. Remember, your body has carried so much for so long, but also knows how to let it go. Thank you for joining me today. If this resonates with you, I invite you to take these small practices into your week. Notice when shame shows up. Notice where you feel it, and remind yourself you don't have to hide. This is Phoenix Body and Mind. Thanks for being a part of this healing journey on Phoenix Rising, Mind and Body Healing. Remember, every breath, every step, every small act of care moves you closer to your next rise. Take care, and I'll meet you back here soon.